Utah going to Stillwater, Oklahoma. This could end up being the most entertaining game of the entire afternoon on Saturday. 4 Eastern on Fox, Boone Pickens Stadium. Utah's a 1.5-point favorite. Can we just stop for a second? This new Big 12 that we have is so sick. This is the fact that we got Utah and Oklahoma State in a conference game. I'm not really pro realignment, but this is going to be a lot of fun. College football fans, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel talking college football. Nothing but college football, no hot takes, no clickbait, no preservatives, no additives, just college football the way that you want it talked about. All right, so we appreciate y'all being subscribed. Wanted to make sure y'all know the hard count is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks, daily fantasy, easy to play, easy to withdraw what you win. All you got to do is pick 2 or more player projections, pick them more or less on their projected stats. We play exclusively college football on this show. And when you use code HARDCOUNT, one, it's a great way to support the show. Let the people at PrizePicks know that we got a sicko college football audience, so thank you for that. When you use code HARDCOUNT, though, at PrizePicks.com, $5 in lineups gets you $50 in promo funds. So we appreciate y'all being subscribed. We appreciate y'all using that code. Now back to the prediction. Utah, they're on a mission here, all right? They're on a mission. They got to go through Stillwater to get to where they want to go. And Cam Rising, he came back for games like this. He came back to get Utah to the college football playoff in Oklahoma State. I think most people agree, depending on how you feel about Kansas State, one of the big dogs in that conference. So we're going to learn a lot about Utah in this game. Utah also, with Cam Rising's situation with his hand, everything I've seen is indicating he's going to play in this game. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to go ahead and predict this game as if this is a situation where Cam Rising is going to play. Now, for Oklahoma State, I think you got to feel, whether they say it or not, some sense of maybe disrespect feels like the wrong word, but maybe some sense of ownership over this conference, because Utah's getting a lot of headlines. People are talking about Kyle Whittingham and everything he did at the Pac-12, and if you're Oklahoma State, you're like, wait a second, we've been a top dog in this conference for a long time. You're just going to stroll in here, and all of a sudden you're the talk of the town. I think they probably feel some type of way about that, and I'm excited to see how they respond to that. The matchup to me is the unstoppable object versus the immovable force. Oklahoma State, you want to get Ollie Gordon going. Hasn't really happened just yet. You haven't seen him really break loose just yet against formidable opponents. But I think in this game now, we say this a lot, your best players in your biggest spots have to be the guys that you go to. Ollie Gordon, very obvious. He's their best player. Okay, so the way that they try and force feed him the football, how committed they are to that is going to be something to watch, because Utah now, Mike Gundy, really interesting press conference he had to start the week. Just was very open about how he felt about Utah in the sense of what they do schematically. Not in a condescending or derogatory way. He's like, they are who they are. They're not going to change what they do. They've done it for a long time. They're going to put an extra guy in the box, stop the run. That's what they do. They're really good at it. Pretty straightforward there. From Mike Gundy to the audience, and from this show, from Mike Gundy to y'all, they're going to do their best to put extra guys in the box to stop the run. Now, my feel on this, because Utah, they're also a team that wants to pound the rock. That's pretty much the identity of both these teams, is they want to be physical, run the football kind of outfits. My guess is both of these operations are too salty and too well coached to let either side just totally bully them. If we're sitting here on Sunday morning talking about Oklahoma State going for 200 yards or Utah going for 200 yards on the ground, I would be wildly surprised. Both bring back over 70% production on defense from last year. Translation, there's continuity there. There's understanding of the scheme there. They play well together. That would be very, very surprising. Now, whenever there's kind of that stalemate when it comes to running the football, who does that go to then? The quarterbacks. And between these two, man, you got 14 years of college football under their belt. Both in their seventh year, God bless them. And some people say, well, hey, go get a job. I say, as long as they give you a helmet and pads, there's going to be a time where they take that away from you, where you're fresh out of eligibility. Play as long as humanly possible. Because after that, if you're not playing in the NFL, you're in a cubicle, or you're doing sales calls. You're doing something that's not as enjoyable, I would imagine, to you as playing quarterback at a big-time college football program. So that's my soapbox on that. But with this game potentially going to the quarterbacks, whose playmakers are able to separate better for them. Brennan Presley, also been at Oklahoma State for a long time. He is the guy they'll go to most frequently with over 20 catches on the year. I think for Oklahoma State, Alan Bowman has to be able to create some breathing room for this offense. Because if you watch Oklahoma State now, they'll spray it all over the field when it comes to like how far they're willing to stretch it. He'll throw the field out. He'll push the ball vertical. And what that does, I know Utah, they want to commit to playing in the box and having that extra guy up there, but if you're doing that now, you understand you have one less individual to defend the pass. So Utah, they really have to be on their P's and Q's because the margin for error there is so small. So Alan Bowman has to be able to, one, hopefully be able to loosen up that box in that sense, but maybe even more specifically, be able to capitalize on having less numbers on the back end for Utah. Like there is some opportunity now for Oklahoma State to throw the football. Now for Cam Rising, I'm assuming that he's going to be a healthy version of himself in this game. I'm not breaking this down with a big question mark around, is he going to be like an 80%? Is he 90%? I'm expecting our normal Cam Rising in this game. But I'm curious to see how much Utah utilizes his legs versus how much Oklahoma State accounts for his legs, because we saw very early in the year, you're watching Arkansas and Oklahoma State, and pretty early on, you're like, wait a second. Quarterback for Arkansas, Taylon Green's having a field day running the football. And when he wasn't running the football, you could tell that Oklahoma State was at least thinking about him running the football to where those, inside zones were hitting for a lot more than you would expect them to against the Oklahoma State defense because of the attention they had to pay to the quarterback. And so I don't think they'll probably give the same attention to a Cam Rising as you would a Taylon Green at Arkansas, because Taylon Green is just an absolute freak show with what he does athletically. No shade to Cam Rising, just kind of the fact of the matter. But with that being said now, if I'm Utah, I've seen that on tape, and I'm like, okay, maybe we can find a way to utilize some of the quarterback run game in this thing as well, whether it be designed or whether it be some ad-lib stuff from Cam Rising during the game. Something to keep an eye on now. I think that could end up being ultimately a major differentiating factor. So at the end of the day here, Oklahoma State, what they've put out there just makes me a little bit unsure. I mentioned Ollie Gordon not really breaking loose just yet. If that isn't happening in this game, I don't know if I like Oklahoma State to win consistently one-on-one, for Alan Bowman to consistently push the ball downfield to make Utah pay. I just think Utah ultimately is offensively going to be able to have their way too much with Oklahoma State. I think defensively they won't let up as many big plays as Oklahoma State's going to need in this game. I know it's in Stillwater. I know that crowd will be a major factor, at least early in the game. But I do think that Utah ultimately wins this football game. I think Utah's going to win this by right around 4 points. So we'll go ahead and take Utah with the final score of 28-24. So we like Utah to win. We like Utah to cover in Stillwater. Told you all about this last week, and it's now had right around a week out of the chute. The Money Game is out on Prime Video. The Money Game is a compelling 6-part docuseries that chronicles the introduction of the groundbreaking decision from the NCAA, essentially to say, hey, NIL, it's fair game. Y'all do what you want to do. It's fair game. For the first time ever, we got student athletes able to earn endorsement compensation while also able to still play their college sport, which I think we can all agree. Say what you want about NIL, this is a good thing, and we've seen it be a good thing now. This docuseries, all access, it covers different athletes at LSU, from Angel Reese when she was at LSU, Livvy Dunne, Jayden Daniels. Really insightful, and also it's just very cool. It's like the first time this has ever happened, and we're capturing it all in real time and making it a docuseries, and Prime Video is putting out there for us to consume. From executive producer and LSU alum, Shaquille O'Neal, The Money Game is out now exclusively on Prime Video. Go Tigers!